knows what I'm talking about when I talk about macronutrients?
I've never even heard of it.
Okay, so it's three things that have your macronutrients. It's your proteins, it's your carbs, and it's your fats. Right? Those are like the building blocks of keeping people healthy. Right? That's essentially when we're building muscle and we're losing weight. We gotta make sure that we pay attention to that, right? So, let's start off with the number one thing that everybody always talks about is their protein intake.
Yes.
Right? So, when we talk about protein, what do we normally think of, ladies? When we think of foods with protein?
Beans.
You said chicken, okay. Beans.
Yeah.
What else?
Different meats and peanut butter.
Okay. Nuts.
Yeah.
Salmon, okay. So we have two thought processes. Some of us think of chicken, beef, fish, what else? You said chicken, beef, fish, and then you said beans, nuts. So, guess what? They both have protein in them, right? I always tell people, let's think about the quality of the source of what we're putting inside of our body, right? What are some things that plague our community as a whole when it comes to certain issues? High blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, cancer, obesity.
I was going to say obesity.
These are all things that we see in our community, within our families, right? And a lot of it comes from the nutrition, right? Nutrition and lack of exercise that we have in our community. And I tell people two things. Can you get protein from meats and everything like that? Yes. But is that the best quality, the best source of protein for our bodies? The way our digestive system works, right? Not always. Right? Over time, not right away. It's not like if you're just eating chicken once or twice that you're going to develop some of these issues. Over time, there are studies that have shown that it's a direct correlation with diabetes, right? So many of our families is like, oh, well, diabetes runs in the family. Not so much, right?
Right.
Type 2 diabetes doesn't necessarily run in the family. The poor nutrition and the lack of exercise that develops in the family is one of the causes for type 2 diabetes. I had a client, actually this week called me up. He hasn't been in the gym maybe for like a year and a half. Gives me a call, and this is the conversation I had with him. He was like, hey, Kat, I was just thinking about you. I needed to talk to you. I got some things going on. I said, what's up? He was like, my son just got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And he was like, when I heard that, it made me think of you and talking about these health issues that we have in our community. Now, mind you, this is his son, not him. His son is 10 years old. 10 years old, just got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, right? So as a parent, he's like, man, he was like, when he comes to me, it's a split household, right? He's like, when he comes to me, I do my best, as best as I know from, the things that you told me, for nutrition, but it's not always like that in the other household, and I can't control that, And I was like, there's only so much we can do, right? It's the education that we need to have in our community as a whole to better our health, right? A lot of people don't realize when it comes to processed meats, right? If you go to the American Cancer Association's website, on their website, they have it listed as processed meats as a type 1 carcinogen, right? Do we know what carcinogens are, right? Things that cause cancer, like cigarettes, type 1 carcinogen.
Exactly.
Over time, you don't smoke one cigarette and develop cancer. You don't smoke 2 cigarettes and develop cancer, right? Over time, smoking cigarettes can cause cancer. Over time, eating these processed meats and things of that nature can also cause cancer. So that's when I talk about is eating the meat the best source of protein for our body? Not necessarily. Go ahead.
What are processed meats?
So, like your bacon, your all those packaged meats that when you go into the store and they're all packaged up and stuff like that. Your turkeys, the chickens, all that kind of stuff, hot dogs, sausages, all that kind of stuff is going to fall into the category as processed meats. So is it the best source of protein for our body? Not necessarily. Especially looking at our community, like when we talk about all those things with the high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, all those things, not only are we leading the rest of all the other cultures when it comes to the numbers, but by a high margin. Like we're number one by a far margin when it comes to having these diseases in our community. So how do we make an impact on changing those things? Now, am I telling everybody that they have to be vegan, plant-based? No, that's your option, that's your choice. But you don't have to, when you think of protein, you don't always have to think about meat for that source of protein. And you don't have to eat it every day.
Right.
If you choose to eat meat or whatever the case may be, you could have it once a day, you can have it every other day, you can have it once a week. It doesn't have to be something that's incorporated in your diet every single day. Because me growing up, I ate meat at least 3 to 4 times a day growing up, right? Breakfast, having sausage, bacon, whatever the case may be, ham for breakfast. This is what my parents made me, right? Eggs, a whole bunch of dairy. Those were my sources of protein. Growing up as an athlete, you know, people tell you, you know, to build muscle, you need to eat lots of protein. And that's correct. Protein gives you the building blocks to the aminos to build muscle, right? But you don't have to get it from meat and dairy, okay? So, some of the things that Brittany mentioned for sources of protein were beans, right? We got also green veggies, right?
Yeah.
Do we ever think about vegetables as being sources of protein, right? Your green leafy vegetables have protein in them. Seeds, nuts. So some things that are super high in protein that we don't even think about, is this, we got hemp seeds, right?
Oh, that's right.
Hemp seeds, we could put it in protein shakes, we could put it in salads, we could put it in soups. You're going to get 10 grams of protein, 10 grams of protein in every serving of hemp seeds. You got chia seeds, great source of fiber, helps with the digestive, helps regulate your hunger, has omega-3s, omega-6s. They both have omega-3s and omega-6s. That's another way to increase your protein. And these things you can add, like I said, to your smoothies, your salads, soups, just different things throughout the day to increase your protein intake. And a lot of us, we over-consume protein. We eat a lot more protein than what our body even needs to take in on a daily basis. So, what other things, as we're going down this list, anybody can think of any other sources of protein, alternatives besides just meat and dairy?
What about the protein powders? The
protein? Okay, so supplements.
Yeah, the supplements.
Okay. And when we talk about supplements, supplementation, really I always tell people, this is like the last resort.
Okay.
Right? This is like you want to get the most natural amount of nutrients
right
before you have to put any kind of supplements in your body. I don't think
Okay.
Some people I recommend supplements sometimes for people that are on the go or have special situations. Mm-hmm. And I say, okay, well, if you need to take a protein shake, then do it. It's better than, some of the alternatives, right? But if we want to focus on getting our main nutrition, we want to get it naturally.
Okay.
And then if we need to add some supplementation in there, then that's cool. But not just going straight here.
Got it. Okay.
I will say peas.
Peas.
Because pea protein is past several years has gotten pretty big.
Yeah.
But yeah, I said quinoa. Quinoa is a seed. People think sometimes quinoa is a grain, but it's not. It's actually a seed.
It is. Right? Quinoa? I'm not.
That's exactly correct.
Boom. All right. And it's so funny. It's like quinoa is actually high in protein. Like quinoa, like for instance, for dinner, I'd have, some lentils, some quinoa, and my veggie, right? And then maybe me personally, for like a healthy fat, I add some avocado or something like that. And it's amazing. And it's light, and I have energy, right? What's the big holiday that's coming up?
Ooh, Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, right? Probably one of the biggest days where we consume the most meat and dairy, right? And during that day, a lot of us get what at the end of Thanksgiving dinner?
Desserts.
Not only desserts, but the itis, right? A lot of us overconsume like the turkey, whatever other proteins that you might have at your Thanksgiving dinner. Then you have the mac and cheese and all this stuff that's full of dairy. And then afterwards, your body goes like this. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I want to shut down, right? It takes a lot for our body to process those things. Eating diets that are heavily consumed in dairy and meat take a real toll in our digestive system because it's not really meant to be there, right? So what I tell people is, like, when you look at your plate, if we're looking at our plate, right, and we're splitting, let's say we're dividing it into 3 portions, right? Yeah, your protein, you got your carbs, and then you got your fats, right? You want your green leafy vegetables to be the biggest thing on your plate, right? Followed by your protein and your fats, okay? And a lot of things, you're gonna eat multiple things. Like when you're eating your quinoa, you're eating your green leafy vegetables, you're eating your legumes or your beans or your nuts. All those have protein, so it all adds up and goes towards your total number for that particular meal, right? So if this has 7 grams of protein, right, and I'm having quinoa in my meal, then I'm having some legumes, right? So I'm having a serving of legumes. So say I have a serving or 2. So I have 14 grams of protein there, right? And then I have some green leafy vegetables. Now I had another 7 to 10 grams of protein here, right? So in that one meal, how much protein did I have?
Quite a bit.
So
Yeah,
7,
24.
21, like 30 grams of protein. Just say. These are just rough numbers, right?
31.
This is 30 grams of protein versus grabbing a piece of meat, whether it's chicken, turkey, fish, or whatever the case may be, and saying, oh, this is my source of protein. I'm not eating too much of anything else, right? And our body's going to be able to absorb this and give us more energy. And what it's also going to do is make it more, okay, so say for example, when we eat the meats, right, we get, it clogs our arteries. Over-consuming too much meat can clog our arteries, right? We're not going to have those issues of clogging our arteries by eating too much meat. Too much beans and quinoa and green leafy vegetables. So that's why I'm saying when we look at these things, we have to weigh our options, right? And this is just one example of what we could do throughout the day. There's so many different variations that you can have and get the necessary amount of protein that you need throughout your day, right? Like oats. If you have oatmeal for breakfast, you don't think of oatmeal as protein, but it has protein in it, right? Little things like if we're using like almond milk and different things like that, those nut milks, some of them are very high in protein. You know what I'm saying? And those are alternatives to dairy, because a lot of us are dairy sensitive. 70% of our community is lactose intolerant.
Right.
Yes. It messes up our digestive system. So thinking it from that aspect is like, okay, let me cut back, because it can hurt me more than it can help me in the long run, right? We're talking about quality of life over time, right? Some of us, okay, look at it this way. How many of us plan to live until 70? Raise your hand.
Definitely.
Want to live until 70, 80,
yes.
90, you know, as long as we can live. And we want to live a good quality of life. For example, I'm going to tell you a personal experience from mine. My father, he's in his late 70s right now. He's 78. And he's suffering from dementia and things of that nature, right? And I've been plant-based almost going on 4 years. So when I started getting information, I started informing my family and my parents almost 4 years ago by it. Like, hey, you know, you might want to think about cutting back. And, you know, some people are set in their ways. They're like, nah, I'm going to do what I want to do. I've been eating meat for 70 years, and this is what we do. Okay, Pops, it's your life, right? But my grandmother, when she got around the same age as my father, she had those issues, right? Dementia and everything like that. And if you look at the research, all it is your body not allowing enough blood flow into your brain, and that's what gives you those symptoms of dementia and everything like that. It's the clogging. It's all the cholesterol buildup and everything in the body that doesn't allow the blood flow. So they have those things where they remember, but they don't really remember, right? And that's why I say over 70 years of eating meat, he's developed these issues. And it's common. I can see it runs in the family. So if I don't want to have those issues, or if I don't want my kids to have those issues, I have to look at alternative ways to supplement my protein and get the nutrients that I need. And these are ways that we can do it. Does that make sense, y'all?
Yes.
We all have things that we see common in our family.
Right.
Right? Whatever those issues may be. Some of us might be super sensitive to salt, so we have high blood pressure, right? Or hypertension, or whatever the case may be. So just kind of looking at your family and what's going on and getting to the root of that. And saying, okay, I see this trend.
Right.
What is the common denominator? Right? The next thing we're going to talk about real quick is carbs. Right? Everybody looks at carbs as the devil. You shouldn't eat carbs. Right. Carbs are bad for you. Carbs are going to make you fat, right? And if protein is what helps us rebuild our muscles, right? What significance do carbs have to our body? Why is it one of the main three things that we need to put in our body for our macronutrients? Energy, right? So, what are good carbs? What are bad carbs? Is it such a thing, right? I wouldn't call it good and bad. Really, one can give you obviously more value. Complex, you get more out of a complex carb than just a simple carb. And it's just the way your body breaks down the carbs, right? Complex carbs are going to be your fruits, your vegetables, quinoa, sweet potato, all these things are going to be complex carbs. It takes longer for your body to break it down and turn it into sugar, which fuels the body, which gives you energy, versus something that's simple like a pasta, white rice, different things of that nature, which your body burns a lot faster, right? Now, why do I recommend most people eating complex carbs? Because a lot of us don't have physical jobs, right? We have to do things based on our lifestyle. A lot of us have stationary jobs where we're either at a desk or doing something light activity for 8 hours of our day, right? So we don't really need something that's going to boost our energy immediately because we need to burn it off, right? Now, if you're talking to like athletes or people that are construction workers and stuff like that are burning constantly, can they eat more simple carbs and get away with it? Yes. Why? Because they're burning more calories. They're more active. It's going to go through their body a lot faster versus something that's going to spike the average person's sugar and then they're going to crash. So we want to focus on more simple carbs, right? And if you don't have a really busy day, do you need to eat a whole bunch of carbs in your day?
Right. No.
You could minimize your carbs and still get away with it because you're not doing too much throughout your entire day, right? So these are going to fall into your fruits, your veggies, your whole wheat pastas and stuff like that are going to be your complex carbs, right? Very important to have energy. If you feel low on energy, guess what we normally tend to go to when we feel low on energy?
Coffee.
Caffeine. Caffeine in general. We're like, oh, my energy is really low. I need caffeine. It's going to give me a jolt, right? We want to start looking at the amount of carbs. You can get the same amount of energy by eating fruit in the morning time. It's going to give you, you're going to get the carbs that you need, you're going to get a jolt of energy, and you're going to be able to maintain that energy, right? And it's just the quality of what we're putting in our body, right? So, the last one we're going to talk about are fats, okay? Well, some of us are here to lose weight. Why am I eating fats? What's the importance, what's the relevance of eating the fats, right? Why is it important I'm going to ask you guys, why is it important to eat fats? The omega-3s and omega-6s, okay.
Brain health.
Cell recovery, brain health. So they play a critical role in our overall health, right? Now, what are good fats and what are fats that we need to stay away from? What are some things that are healthy fats? What was that? Avocados. Okay. So, but what if I don't like avocados? A lot of people's like, ugh, avocado. I don't want to eat no avocado. No.
I love them.
I don't like that. I can eat avocado all day.
I do eat avocado trees.
Yeah, I'll come to your house. Avocados can cost a little bit sometimes.
Yes, they can.
But avocados is not for everybody, right? And people have to understand, you have to find, in each one of these categories, find things that make you feel good and make you thrive and give you the energy that you like because you're going to be consistent with it, right? So when I say healthy fats and I say avocados, do you have to eat avocados to be healthy? No, right? Do they have a lot of health benefits? Yes. But if you don't like them, don't eat them, right? Customize everything to your lifestyle. What are some other healthy fats that we can throw under here real quick? Nuts. Okay.
Nut butter.
So we could say nuts, and that would also bring in the
protein,
the hemp seeds, the chia seeds. So we could put down, chia. Okay. Anything? Huh?
Cheese.
You said cheese?
Not a healthy fat.
Well, I put it to you like this, right? If we think from logical, like I've gotten to a point in my life because not too long ago I was overweight, suffering from health issues and stuff like that. I think to the most logical standpoint, right? It's like if I ate a bulk, let's go back to protein for instance. If I ate a bulk of meat, that was the majority of what my diet consists of. Say on this plate that we were talking about, it was more meat than anything, which in our society normally is. We have big, huge servings of meat, and then the vegetable and everything else is like the side. It's something smaller, right? You go to a steakhouse, you get a 10-ounce big old steak, and then you have your little sides, right? So if I'm eating majority of meat, right, what can happen? I can become constipated. I can become clogged up. Eating a lot of dairy, same thing, getting clogged up, right? If it's
colon cancer.
Colon cancer.
That's why I stopped eating meat, because of 3 diagnoses of colon cancer in my family.
Yeah. On my wife's side, her uncle just got done doing chemotherapy for what? Colon cancer. Men are actually at a higher risk of getting colon cancer, especially in our community, just for the simple fact because men need meat for protein, you know, to build muscle, to be nice and big. That's the way we've been taught. And a lot of us, when we get to a certain age, we're at higher risk of getting colon cancer. And like I said, we see these trends in our family over and over again. So if we're eating those high meat diets, they're usually low in fiber, right? Because the meat has no fiber, right?
Right.
It doesn't process in our system, which clogs us up, which gets us constipated, which develop other issues, right? So if I'm thinking from that standpoint, and it's like, okay, well, if I ate a whole bunch of meat, potentially low in fiber, whatever the case may be, get constipated, colon cancer, all these other things go with it. If I'm looking at green leafy vegetables, legumes, and everything, these things have fiber in them, they have protein in them, they have carbs in them. You know what I'm saying? All the things that my body needs to strive, right? And if I stop eating meat for a month, and start eating more green vegetables and all these things, is it likely that I'm going to get constipated and sick? No. But if I did it the reverse,
right,
I will.
It's a high chance.
You know? So what's a healthier choice? That's why I've kind of gotten to a point. It's like, you know, slowly but surely, I was doing it automatically because for whatever reason in our society, what are the bad meats? If we're going on a diet in our mind, what are some of the meats that we all automatically want to stay away from?
Pork.
Automatically, we could identify pork as something that we don't need, right? It's like, oh, pork, that's not good for you. It's a bad meat, right? Bad meat. Pork, no good for you, right? It's swine. So, what's another meat that we can identify as not a healthy meat?
A beef.
Beef. Those are common things. It's like, if I cut the process at one time, I was like, as I was going through my weight loss journey, making my transformation, that's how I thought. I was like, let me cut out that beef. I don't need that. That's not good for you. Pork, not good for you. I'm going to stick with the fish, the chicken, and the turkey. Those good meats, good clean meats, right? And in reality, not so much, right? But for whatever reason, we're able to process that as a community.
Right.
If we went down and talked to anybody in the community, they would have that similar kind of thought process, right? And with all the hormones and everything that goes into taking a baby bird and turning it into a full-grown bird, we're seeing a lot of kids going through puberty.
That's exactly what they're doing, right?
People are developing a lot more. Why? Because all the hormones that they're putting into the turkeys and the chickens that we eat so much into our community, right? With the fish, same thing. A lot of homegrown, farm-raised fish. They're eating a lot of bacteria. The fish not so healthy because of the environment, and then due to the pollution on the fish in the water in the ocean, a lot of mercury and stuff like that, not so much, right? So can you eat it? Yes. Is it the best choice for you? Not so much, right? Can we cut back on it? Yeah, you could definitely cut back on it. When I tell people, let's start with things that we're familiar with, right? Like last night, for example, family had tacos, right? It was really easy, quick and easy. Wife was like, man, I just want to make something easy for the family real quick. What can we do? Let's make some tacos, right? We can have everything that we normally have on tacos. Just take off the meat, right? We're still getting our protein. We're still getting our carbs. We're still getting our healthy fats.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily need the meat. Sometimes we think a meal is not complete until we have the meat on the plate. Yeah. And that's not always the truth.
And I use cauliflower for my tacos. I mix up the cauliflower just like it's meat with taco seasoning and everything. It's all over my Instagram. I make more cauliflower tacos than anything on earth. Cauliflower tacos.
Yeah. It's so funny because my 10-year-old, right? He loves these, my wife makes cauliflower, like wings, right? She breads them, and you could either put like a little bit of hot sauce or whatever kind of sauce you want to put on it.
A little cauliflower.
Yeah. She makes those, and he loves it. Like, he tells Mom, I want some more of that. Like, it's like, wow. We can take things that we're familiar with and still make them fun and still make them healthier and have a healthier choice. Yeah. Right? And this is, when we have these talks, this is all it's about. It's about how can we make healthier choices throughout our day.
That's right.
And there's even good vegan cheeses out there now. Back in the day, like in the 90s, the vegan cheese was disgusting. And now, like, you've got Kite Hill cheese, you've got Miyokos. Yeah. There's a lot of, like, vegan cheese out there. You can even make your own vegan cheese out of nuts. Yeah. But cheese, like I always say, it's cow pus. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disgusting, but it is designed to put thousands of pounds on a baby cow. And so, yeah.
And that's what it is at the end of the day. Like, for whatever reason, we can identify, and since you're talking about cow's milk, my dad, to this day, 78 years old, he thinks drinking cow's milk is giving him calcium to have strong bones. And if you look at my dad, he looks frail as ever. He's just like, and if I told you to drink breast milk past the age of 1 or 2, you guys would be looking at me like I was crazy. You'd be like, yeah, have a glass of breast milk, right? Why not? Pour it in your cereal.
It makes perfect sense to have a glass of milk from a cow.
Yeah, but it makes sense to drink something that's meant for a baby calf. But we can't, for whatever reason, and it's marketing. There's a lot of marketing that goes behind it. I know when I was growing up in the 80s, the big advertisement was like, got milk, showing the kids growing up, drinking the glass of milk, and then they transform into this healthy adult looking all strong and everything. You're like, oh shit, well, I want to be a healthy adult. I need to drink a whole bunch of milk. And that's not true. A lot of third world countries that don't have access to milk and a lot of dairy products like we do, because we have an overconsumption of it, actually have healthier bones than what we do, right? Because we overconsume these products, right? Now, say back 500 years ago, the crops didn't come in, right? Did some people have to survive on other things to be healthy? Yes. Right. It was 500 years ago. You had to do what you had to do to survive as humans, right? You didn't want to die, so did we have to hunt every blue moon and get the protein because the crops didn't come in? Or did we have to go milk a cow and do different things, right? Yes. But now we have an abundance of everything, right? Yep. Especially in the U.S. We have an abundance of everything. It's just us making healthier choices and knowing that our body doesn't need it, and it's not the best source. Always think of, if I told you guys you had $100,000 Mercedes-Benz, right? Are you going to put the 87 gas in it, or are you going to put the 91 premium in it? Are you going to put the regular unleaded, or are you going to put the premium? It's like, I'm not going to mess up my engine. I'm going to put the good gas in it, right? This is a $100,000 car. Exactly. Are you going to go without doing your oil change and your maintenance to that $100,000 car?
No way.
No, I'm going to take it in the shop. That light comes on, it says oil change. It's going to be time to take it in. I'm going to take care of it. Well, think of your body as the same thing. Think about what is the premium source of energy or these things that I can put in my body, and start utilizing that, and watch how your body feels. Everybody has to go through their own experience. See how your own body reacts to it, right? Cutting back on that unleaded fuel and start putting premium into your body, you'll start feeling a difference, right? And once people do it, they're like, damn, I didn't really understand. Like, one other thing before I let you guys go, because we kind of hit all three topics. Back in the day, starting probably in my mid-20s, I started suffering from anxiety, depression, and I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. And when I go to a doctor after my first episode, they want to prescribe you with pills and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm not into taking, medication like that, right? So I'm like, I'm just gonna deal with it. And so I dealt with it 7 years, off and on. Episodes would be coming out of nowhere, and I was like, what is going on? And after I started cleaning up, I started to clean up my diet, and everything that I knew about nutrition and everything started to change. One thing that I noticed, that started going away directly. Even when I lost the initial weight and I was still eating, small portions of meat, and I was still eating clean meats and stuff like that, I was still suffering from it. I was like, man, I'm healthy, I'm doing this. What is going on? Am I just going crazy? It was not until I cut the meat and dairy out completely out of my diet that all that stuff started to go away. And that's when a light bulb kind of went off for myself that said, wow, the meat and dairy was bringing me the depression, because what we failed to realize as well is the environment these animals are being grown in as well. The hormones that are releasing in their body, they're living in very high stressful environments. If you've ever been to a slaughterhouse, I've been one time, and I didn't even realize the type of environments that these animals are living in. But those hormones are releasing into our food, right? Into the milk, into the meat, high stress hormones, right? Well, you gotta think about it. If you're constantly eating that as well, what does that turn into your body? It creates a more high stressful environment inside your body as well, whether you know it or not. It's almost like taking a supplement with high stress and depression and all that kind of stuff into our own bodies, right?
I specialize in that, actually. So my online course that's coming up is going to be on food and mood, because that's exactly correct. Because even my mom has depression, and a lot of people in my family have depression, and they don't make the correlation between what they're eating and their depression, anxiety. All of that is huge. So that's exactly right.
And normally, how do we supplement, or usually in our community, when we're going through things, first of all, we don't talk about it. No. We kind of, it's like taboo to say you're depressed. Suck that shit up. You ain't depressed. Get through it, right? And we don't talk about it, first of all. So we don't even feel comfortable as a community coming together and putting those things on the table. Secondly, if we're not taking medication from the doctor, we're either smoking a lot of weed or drinking a lot of alcohol, or both, right? We're doing something along those lines. When, just like Kenya said, we more so have to look at the nutrition that we're putting into our bodies. Yeah. Because it really starts there. A lot of things that are going on in our community can be resolved and reversed once you get to the bottom of having a solid, nutritious diet and adding a lot more exercise. The endorphins that release into your body after doing a great workout, man, you're on a high, you're on cloud 10, right? Those are things that need to be released into your body on a daily. That's why I tell people 30 minutes a day. Find some kind of activity, whether you like to ride a bike, swim, play basketball, dance, do yoga, whatever the case may be. Find something that's going to release those endorphins into your body, that's going to keep you healthy, keep you happy, right? Versus always our environments currently are highly stressful, whether it's work, family, whatever the case may be. Why not the parts that we can eliminate and take out? Why not look at it like, okay, well, I don't want to eat stress, so let me leave that out. I don't have to be around these people, so let me take that out of my daily routine, and just start implementing more small things that make you happy throughout the day. And that's going to help us have better longevity in our life and a better quality of life as we want to live into our 70s, 80s, and 90s. We don't want to get up there and end up like some of our grandparents or family members, where they might be living, but they're not truly living. They're constantly going to the hospital once a week, doing check-ins, on dialysis, suffering from whatever they might be suffering from.
Yep.
We want to be functional human beings. And this is the last thing I'm going to leave you with because I know it's going kind of long today. Look into blue zones. Blue zones around the world. These areas are set zones around the world, and people are living well into their hundreds, right? And not just saying they're living into their hundreds, they're thriving people. They're still active in their community. They're still doing things. And one thing that you can see that's consistent in all these different blue zones around the world, the nutrition is pretty much along the same lines. They're not eating too much meat. Most of them are vegetarian or plant-based nutrition. And a lot of them, they all work out. They're all active. They stay busy, right? As soon as we stop being busy, the body starts to break down, right? So that's just what I wanted to leave you guys with today. If you guys have any more questions about, our macronutrients with the protein, the carbs, the fats, feel free to reach out to me, guys. That's what I'm here for. We want to educate each other because as we educate ourselves, we could educate our loved ones around us. Explaining, like, I didn't know what I knew until 4 years ago. And that made me start to educate my kids in a different way, to explain certain things so they have a better understanding. So as they get older, they do a lot better than me, right? We always want the next generation to do a lot better than what we did from the information that we got. And our parents and grandparents did as best as they could because they had only so much information, right? And we're in the era of technology and information, right? So let's utilize that. Even if you don't agree or believe what I'm saying, look it up for yourself and do your own research and call me a liar to my face. You know what I'm saying? I want you to challenge me. Challenge me. Be like, Cat, you're full of shit. I need the meat. I'm going to die without the meat and the dairy. I'll prove you wrong. I said, okay, I'll see you in 100 years. Let's see.
That's right.
We're on a race to 100. Let's see who makes it there first, right? So that's what these classes are all about, to have these topics, have these conversations, and just educate each other and make it fun and get different people's point of view.
Yes.
Right? Because we all have different perspectives. We're all different, dealing with different issues at the end of the day. All right, y'all?
Yep.
All right, any questions or anything for today? Boom.
It's not a question, but when we were talking about fats, I did learn that fats are also important for hormone regulation. So, just that was like a big aha for me.
Yeah. And like I said, that's what we didn't touch on. What are some of, so in taking a lot of fats, what are some fats that we want to avoid? Animal fats. And what else? Some of the oils. What are some of the common oils that we see a lot of in our community?
Yeah, cooking oil,
the
vegetable oil,
all the lards, all those things.
Yeah.
That's what we need to start staying away from as much as possible. And even when you're talking about like olive oil and all those kind of cooking oils, very minimal, right? Because what is our body mainly composed of?
Water.
Water. What happens when you mix oil and water?
They don't mix.
Right?
Right?
You cook with olive oil anyway.
Yeah.
FYI, it turns into a carcinogen when you start
heating it
to a certain temperature. Yeah. Those are little things that you want to avoid or limit as much as possible, right? I'm a realist. I live in the same world as everybody else. It's like, okay, let's just try to minimize as much as possible and do the best that we can do. See you later, Mahogany.
Bye.
And just do the best that we can do. And don't stress off it. Just be like, okay, I'm just more conscious of what I'm putting into my body at the end of the day. That's the goal. Let's be more conscious of what we're doing and just making better decisions and living the best life that we can live.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right, I'm not going to hold you guys up too much longer. I will see you guys next time in class, those that didn't make it in today. And, guys, also YouTube channel, make sure you're following Cat Fitness because I got all our different talks on there. So if you want to go back and watch different topics that I've had with different classes and different questions, because everybody has different questions. If you want to go back, make sure you're following the Cat Fitness page. Follow IG. I do the health tips and we do fun little videos and different things of that nature.